So, to celebrate the release of Nutcracker in the Four Realms, at least locally in my cinema, I thought it would be cool to sort of have a look at some Disney theories and see if I can piece them all together to make one big Disney theory. So I'm going to be going at this two ways. The first way is I'm going to sort of run through all the cameos that are in the Disney animated films. You can actually go online, search cameos in Disney films, and it will bring you one of the top searches that it will find for you is the Disney Wikia page for cameos in Disney films, and that's where I've gotten most of the images that I will show you guys in a second as I run you through them. And then the second way I'm going to go about this is looking at fan theories that sort of surround these cameos and how they sort of all interlink together to give us one big Disney theory. In this scene with the fair folk from Black Cauldron, Tinkerbell can be seen among the fairies. Archimedes from Sword in the Stone, Kaa and a monkey from the Jungle Book, Little John from Robin Hood, and the fox from Mary Poppins are all seen as spectators to the animal soccer game in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. The King and Grand Duke from Cinderella are seen during the wedding scene in Little Mermaid. Gaston rides the Headless Horseman's horse in this scene from Beauty and the Beast. Belle, Pumbaa and the Magic Carpet are all seen in the opening scene to Hunchback of Notre Dame. The pelt of Scar is used as the skin of the Nemean lion from Hercules. Mrs. Potts and Chip are at the Porter's camp in Tarzan. Mulan Wok is the name of the Chinese restaurant in Lilo and Stitch. And Nani also has a Mulan poster in her bedroom. Flower, Bambi and Thumper can all be seen as characters in the opening scenes to Enchanted. The princess killing giant is wearing Ariel's bikini as an earring and Cinderella's maid dress as part of his loincloth. Max from The Little Mermaid can be seen here in the Enchanted. The spinning wheel from Sleeping Beauty can be seen in Rapunzel's room. Anna eats a plate of candy from Sugar Rush. Rapunzel and Flynn Rider quite famously at the coronation in Frozen. Hans can be seen on a wanted poster in Big Hero 6, and in the same scene, a photo of Esther from Bolt can be seen on the desk. Hero owns a Hero's Duty action figure. There's a photo of Arendelle in Fred's mansion right above Tomorrow's head. A statue of Hans in Big Hero 6. Marshmallow from Frozen on a tapa cloth in Moana. Baymax mask on a Kakamora in Moana. Genie's lamp can be seen in Tamatoa's treasure pile. And the magical golden flower from Tangled during Motunui's recovery. Alright, so now that we're done with all of the cameos, we're going to switch over and do all of the theories now. I have a short list here of ones that I think are important, cool. So I'll quickly run through these, in no particular order either. Hercules and Ariel are cousins. This one's more based in like Greek mythology than anything else. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel's father is Triton, who in Greek mythology is the son of Poseidon, who is the brother of Zeus, who both in mythology and in the movie Hercules is Hercules' father, making them first cousins once removed. The sort of the big one, Elsa, Anna, and Tarzan are Rapunzel's cousins. And there's a lot of things that also sort of show this as well, from the fact that Anna somehow has blonde hair despite both of her parents having darker hair, and then her exhibiting magical powers, similar to how Rapunzel's hair turns blonde when she has the healing powers in her hair. So obviously blonde hair is super powered. It justifies the king in Frozen's fear of magic if magic was the reason his niece was kidnapped. It was confirmed that the king and queen in Frozen were on their way to a wedding. Given the ages of the characters in the coronation scene, I would say that this is the king and queen's wedding, not Rapunzel's to Flynn's, purely because they appear to be the same age during the coronation scene. It'd kind of be weird if Rapunzel just didn't age for 20 years. So yeah, but then they shipwreck, obviously. It's then found by Ariel, and the king and queen then wash ashore somewhere and give birth to Tarzan. Queen Athena, it was killed by Captain Hook, is the next theory. We never actually meet Ariel's mother, but there is a red-haired mermaid that looks suspiciously like Ariel in Peter Pan. And they have a less than cordial relationship with the pirates in that movie. And then I think it's in the sequel to Little Mermaid, it's sort of mentioned that Ariel's mother was killed by pirates. Iago, the parrot, and any talking animals for that sake were once human, similar to how Cusco turned into a llama, as well as all the guards into various other animals. Because the dark part of this theory is that the only other talking animal in Emperor's New Groove is a fly that promptly gets eaten by a spider as it screams, "Help me, help me." I have a clip for you that I will put just here.
Scary jungle, right? Oh, a leaf. Oh, it might attack me. Oh, it's a scary tree. I'm afraid. Please never find my way. I'm the Emperor. And as such, I'm born with an innate sense of direction. Okay, where am I? What? Okay, that was the freakiest thing I've ever seen.
The next theory is that Jane from Tarzan is descended from Belle from Beauty and the Beast. They both have a love for wild men, Belle with the Beast and Jane with Tarzan. And then when you have a look at their fathers as well, Professor Archimedes Porter looks a lot like Maurice. They both also share a striking resemblance to the Duke of Weselton. If you don't believe me, I will put pictures right now. What's also interesting to note here is that the Duke of Westleton appears to be wearing the uniform that the Grand Duke is wearing in the wedding scene as well. I'll put those pictures back up again so you can check that as well. Moving on to our next theory is that Mother Gothel from Tangled is the evil queen from Snow White. The evidence for this is that they both use a dagger as their primary means of attack, I suppose, like it's their primary weapon. They both have an obsession with perpetual youth, and they both have a similar crone appearance. My guess is that after not becoming the fairest of them all, the evil queen set out to become the fairest of them all, eventually found the flower, and then when it was passed on to Rapunzel, kidnapped her in order to keep that youthfulness going. Going on to the next theory is that Fred in Big Hero 6 is descended from most likely Anna, given the similarities in hair color, and potentially Hans as well, as you saw the cameos of the portrait of Arendelle and the statue of Hans at the mansion kind of speak to that. Perhaps it's not even a portrait of Arendelle, perhaps it's a portrait of the castle of the Seven Isles. In that case, it's definitely going to be Hans that is the one he's descended from. We just don't know. And so that brings me to the last one, and that is that Enchanted introduces Disney's overall, like, kind of like the Force from Star Wars sort of thing, but it's called the Tradition, and it is the universal force that controls all of the characters. It decides who is good, who is evil, rewards the good people, and ultimately brings the death of most villains. Seems to be the way to win in a Disney film, is to kill the villain. There is also a theory that going with that Chernobog from Fantasia is Disney's devil, and is like the root of all evil, and that the Chernobog is also Kronos, the Titan from Hercules and Greek mythology. Kronos is Zeus's father and is not seen when Hades releases the Titans, meaning that Hades only released some of the Titans, not all of them, because obviously even Hades knew that releasing the devil basically was not a good idea. Even Hades was not that evil. And so that brings me to my own thoughts and theories. Going with the big one with Tangled, Frozen, Tarzan, and The Little Mermaid, what I don't understand is if these are set in the real world, how does traveling from Norway to Germany, which is literally just across like the Baltic Sea, how does that end up you washing ashore in Africa? Because I don't know if you've seen what the world looks like, but they're in opposite hemispheres. It's not like an easily done mistake. They're opposite hemispheres. So how does that happen? That brings me to the theory that all of these films, because we've obviously seen that, you know, like, these people are related and they're descended from them, and all these things interact with each other through cameos in the films. What if all of these films take place in somewhere like Neverland, which is a fictional place, allows the Enchanted Forest to actually be called the Enchanted Forest, and it also means that they don't have to obey Earth's geography. So you could have Arendelle be up in a tundra place similar to what Norway would look like, and you can have Tangled take place in this foresty region like Germany, but have them be either side of a tropical place similar to the jungles of Africa, so that the journey would have to go from Arendelle past this island to the kingdom that's entangled. Thereby, they get shipwrecked about here, swim ashore, get mauled by a leopard. That's just my theory for how that makes sense, because otherwise they've just done this big old round trip to the opposite hemisphere for no reason, and I don't see that being likely. The other thing too is that obviously I've got some live action films in the theory and included for the cameos and stuff, like Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Enchanted. I will even go so far as to say Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan, because their main characters are children, so therefore the imagination of them allows them to be wholly animated. It's like the one string that if you pull could potentially crumble this entire theory. But they're all real-world characters. So Alice is a real-world character. If you take the live-action version, it's animated once she goes into Wonderland, but it's all live-action beforehand. But yeah, if we take that as those characters as being real-world, Alice, Wendy, and her brothers, Mary Poppins and the children, Mrs. Price from Bedknobs and Broomstick, and those children, they all then travel into the magical world, similar to how like the Pevensies go through the wardrobe to get to Narnia, which just means that all of the animated Disney parts take place in Neverland. It then also, if we go with that part in Emperor's New Groove, where we're like, okay, talking animals were once humans, that then opens up the entire thing to characters in, say, Robin Hood, where they're all talking animals. And so that sort of then sets a bit of a timeline that kind of makes a bit of sense in a way. If we imagine that the Isle of Nabumbu is just where talking animals were sort of sent, if you don't know where that is, that's in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So if we imagine that that's where they're all sent, we can then sort of separate the human characters from the talking animal characters, geographically at least, and then it makes sense for things like Bambi being talking animals and then having cameos in other films. Speaking of Bambi cameos in other films, there seems to be a running joke of just putting Bambi's mother as the prey to other characters. Like in Sword in the Stone, she's Sir Kay's prey when he's out hunting, and then literally like the next film is Jungle Book, and Bambi's mother is Shere Khan's prey when he's hunting. So if that's the case, Bambi's mother had one hell of a life, and so thereby it's understandable that without even ever seeing the hunters in Bambi, we're then able to like she's able to sort of sense that they're coming, because she's been hunted just that many times that it's like not even new to her anymore. So yeah, the other part too, particularly in Peter Pan, is he gives them instructions on how to get to Neverland, and he actually has to bring magic with him, and so maybe magic's what makes it animated. I don't know, it's just a theory. Yeah, if you think that I'm onto something, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think about this theory, and I'd love to hear if you have any of your own Disney theories. Let me know those in the comments below as well, because I would love to just continue putting pieces in this jigsaw together until I can see the shiny picture on top. Yeah, and so until next time, Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you want to be notified when I upload new videos, make sure you hit the subscription button and that notification bell. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can hit up my social medias at the handles shown above. And until next time, guys, all hail the king.